What the hell happened after the race? Create some energy, some electricity.
We had a little side-by-side action going on in 3 and 4 at the end. Yeah.
Beat up on the guys?
Well,
Way to go.
I was defending, and I got beat up on. And then I held it down and just kept digging on the outside.
I tell you, I got behind Danica, and I couldn't pass her. She came a long ways from yesterday. She was extremely fast. Good job.
Thank you.
So that was my day. I tore it up early, and I don't know what happened. The caution came out, and they just stopped off of 4. The one car extremely well, and I barely got into him. I don't know who hit me from behind, but it was pretty hard. And just, I don't know. I think that was, we were a couple of adjustments away right at that point to getting really good. And then there at the end, it was just, I think the old girl was about max potential. She was tore up pretty good.
Thank you, Clint. Danica Patrick.
Thank you. Goodbye.
No, hang on now.
Oh, hang out with me. These are a lot more fun when you're around.
I was just being polite. Danica Patrick has joined us, too. She had a strong 12th place showing her first trip here to Martinsville Speedway. Certainly, Danica driving the number 10 GoDaddy.com Chevrolet for Stuart Haas. Outstanding job out there today. And
Thanks.
maybe just talk about your experience driving at Martinsville and how you thought things went.
You know, we had a spin at the very beginning. I don't know how many laps in, 10, 20, something like that. And felt like I kind of got pinched down, but I also got in pretty hard. So, you know, when you got the momentum going that way, it's, you know, it was a sort of a perfect storm. So, but I learned my lesson to make sure that you just don't go in too hard because they're going to be holding you tight and there's going to be nowhere to go, nowhere to slide up, and you get into them and it's a lot of, you know, if you've got wheel in it, you're probably going to come around. So, learned that lesson early. Got down, we were 2 laps down at one point. So, I'm probably most proud of getting those 2 laps back and then running strong until the end there on the lead lap. You know, it's just nice to have a good weekend after, you know, having so many that weren't good since Daytona. So, yeah, it was a fun little track. I was told that if it goes well, you'll be like, oh, I don't mind this place at all. Let's come back. And if it doesn't, you don't want to ever see it again. So today was one of those days. I had a good car, and Gibson's got a good track record here. Obviously, Newman won this race last year, and he's always run really well. So, you know, I think the team has a lot to be proud of. The stops were good. We had a little right front damage from early in the race, and so it was a little bit of a pain in the butt to get that tire on and off, or off and then back on for stops. But, you know, it was good to get the GoDaddy car up there, and you know, Hendrick did a nice job all weekend. Obviously, I had to start from the back because I decided I was going to go from 4th to 3rd and coming up to speed on my outlap in practice, and that's not the normal progression. So I got 11.4 on the revs, and they were like, I probably should take that out. So so unfortunately, I had to start from the rear. But you know, Hendrick gave me another really strong engine. I felt like we had decent speed in practice, and it was nothing different today.
Okay, we'll take questions for Clint or Danica. Raise your hand. We'll start with this gentleman right here, please.
Clint, Danica, Adam Haynes for their Danville Registered and Bede. This is kind of for both of you guys. You know, are you, well, obviously, Clint, you're probably pretty happy with how you did today, but Danica, how do you feel about your performance? And Clint, could you just kind of clarify a little bit?
He answered your question for you, didn't he?
Yes, you're really good at that. It was a hell of a question.
I'd like to hear what you think.
Go ahead.
No, really, no, you first.
I was, I'm telling you, after the car that we had all weekend long, I mean, the damn 48 won. I really thought I was going to be battling him for the win after practice yesterday, and I didn't think anybody's going to battle you. I know, and then yeah, I don't know. I just it's Martinsville. You never know. It's so hard to practice preparing for the race. You know, I was extremely good yesterday. Started the race way tight, and I was like, where did that come from? But you know, so it's Martinsville, it's short track racing. It was a lot of fun. Just it's exciting to keep the energy alive in this sport. I think you know, we're really onto something with this new car, and it's fun times. It's fun to get out of the car and see action. People happy, people pissed off. It's good for the sport, right?
I
think
you know, I mean, it's
pissed
kind of
off 2 or 3 guys, I think.
Well,
I'm joking.
I probably did. I guarded down into 3 on the last lap, and then the 55 hit me and got me loose and pushed me up the track, and then I held it next to him, came off the corner, and then Harvick was on the very inside, so we were 3 wide coming to the line. And then for some reason, the 55 just spun all the way, like big smoke going into 1. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but it was, I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
Good
I think
job.
he was just trying to stir stuff up. I don't really
that
think we
seems
know
normal.
anything.
You're always trying to do that, aren't you?
Really?
Look at that
Yeah, but I
little
mean,
devious
you
smile.
were running with it pretty good, so keep digging.
Okay. I'm such a rookie. You know, it was, I mean, we just answered how the day went. So, you know, more than that, you know, kind of what Clint said about, you know, the sport being exciting, a lot going on. I hope the fans enjoyed that late red that made for a, you know, chaotic last, you know, 7 or 8 laps there. You know, it was good to look up in the stands and see it full. It was good to see people with their shirts off. I mean, summer's coming, so I'm ready for it. I'm sure y'all are because it snowed here on Thursday. So, you know, things are just going well, and it was, for me, it was just really nice to have a nice weekend since Daytona because we haven't had
I got pretty excited about that comment, and I realized it was a girl that made it, and I was like, oh. Well,
about the shirts off thing?
awful different. Yeah.
Jeff Gordon has joined us. Jeff finished 3rd today. Jeff drives the number 24 drive to end Hunger Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And Jeff, talk about your run. Certainly battling for the win out there, but how did it look from your seat?
It was an exciting day for us. You know, same thing kind of what Clint said. We were a little bit tighter when the race started than we anticipated. But we also burned the rear tires off of it the first couple runs. So luckily that improved. Then I made a bonehead move and overshot my pit stall and cost us a bunch of positions. So, and I was just sitting back there not passing anybody, not going anywhere, thinking, uh-oh, I've really screwed us up. But the long run, we made a couple adjustments and freed the car up, and then the long run came, and, man, our car was just unbelievable in that long run. So, you know, I obviously didn't want to see a short run there at the end, but, you know, it's pretty typical. It's going to happen at Martinsville. And so I think 3rd was a great finish for us, and happy to bring it home 3rd. We needed the points. We needed a good, solid run. The 48, I mean, you give him that number 1 pit stall at Martinsville, and, I mean, it's almost near impossible to beat him.
All right, let's go to the press box questions for Jeff, Clint, or Danica. Go ahead.
Aaron McFarling with the Roanoke Times. Danica, they say that the toughest thing about your first race here is getting comfortable. At what point, was there a point in the race where you felt that comfort level grow? And, you know, when you did spin, were you thinking, okay, everything everybody said about this place was right? It is a little hard to get around here?
I mean, I think it was just a circumstance, but it just got me on my toes when I was inside of people, making sure I didn't slide up into them and, you know, them kind of helped turn me sideways. So, you know, I felt pretty comfortable from the get-go. You know, when you have a decent car, things just are a lot easier. So I've had a lot of other worse weekends. Like Fontana, I've been there a bunch of times, but it was misery until the race. So, you know, it was just a good car. So we were steady all weekend, and we just kind of kept improving. And you know, we also improved in the race, which is always really important. We ended up getting really good power down by about halfway through the race, and no matter what I did, I could really get on it well coming off the corner. So, you know, that I would say that I, you know, learned pretty early. I was backing up my corner and kind of going in easy and trying to kind of save everything, and I was getting really loose doing it. And so once I finally got back to going in hard again and loading the front up like I was before, it seemed like the car got really balanced again. So, you know, I learned that kind of easy, and that's kind of what helped me get more comfortable in race runs.
Go ahead, press box. Other questions?
Yes, sir. Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. For Danica, 2 things. First, you were 5 spots ahead of Tony Stewart and many more ahead of Ryan Newman, so maybe how it felt to be first in class for Stewart-Haas Racing today.
Well, I mean, Ryan had an issue, and he was really nice out there. There was one time he let me in when I was stuck up high, so that was really helpful of him. You know, I felt a little funny kind of racing really hard for position with Tony there at the end. It was, and then to get in front of him, that was a little victory for me, so, because he's so good. So I'm going to go over to his bus after this and see what he has to say about it. But no, it was really fun, and you know, Gibson just prepares nice cars for Martinsville. So, you know, it's not about being first in your team. It's about being first out there overall, and you work towards that the whole time.
And then also, is this place, you've had success at Phoenix, at Milwaukee, at flat short tracks like this. Does this place remind you of either of those, and is that maybe why you got so comfortable so quick and got that rhythm?
No. I mean, I just think that, there's less risk in finding the limit on a track that you're not going as fast on. So, I think that's a little bit part of it, as opposed to when you're at Fontana and it's a tricky track and you're carrying a lot of speed, and the consequences seem a little bit bigger when you try and find the limit there than at a short little track here, so like Martinsville. So I think that might be kind of it. I'm not 100% sure. All I can say is that I know that a car that's comfortable to drive always makes a huge difference.
Other questions in the press box? Go ahead.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. As a follow-up to what you just said, Danica, when you were racing Tony for 16th with about 35 laps to go, did it enter your mind at all that maybe it would be a good idea to let him in, or is he just another driver on the track at that point?
No, we were racing for position, so it didn't cross my mind to let him in. I went underneath him to go by him, so no. All that crossed my mind is that, I just, I'd be fair and give room and run hard, and if I get the spot, great. If I don't, you lost it to a guy like Tony Stewart. So, but no, I mean, I'm out there to race, and I don't think Tony would want me to lift.
One more in the press box. Go ahead.
Don't block him.
Yes, Damian Sortle at Lynchburg News in Advance. This question is for Jeff.
Copy that.
Jeff, with the victory today with Jimmy, that gives Hendrick Motorsports its 20th victory. It breaks the tie with Petty for most all-time here at Martinsville. You and Jimmy have combined for 15 of those victories. Can you just talk about the dominance Hendrick's had here and what it means to, hold that milestone?
I'm guessing Hendrick's got something figured out pretty good here. I mean, the first time I drove for Rick, I knew how good their equipment was everywhere we went, and the teams, they just do such a good job from the entire, through the depth of the organization, from the engineering and how we build the chassis and everything that we do. And we hit on some things years ago for us here, but they had success prior to me getting there, and then I think the 48's been able to take that success that we had and really build on that as well. And Jimmy, he just has really figured this place out. And so, there's just certain tracks where the drivers that Hendrick has had over the past as well as now, and just our race cars, it just really suits, that. And like I said, qualifying up front really can be huge here. If you get a driver like Jimmy and a team like the 48, or ours as well, or the 15, you put them on the pole in that number one pit stall, it's going to be really, really hard to beat them. So the next thing we got to work on now is trying to qualify better. But that's awesome. I'm so proud to be a part of Hendrick. Happy for Rick. I got to see him out there, and I know that these types of stats and records really mean a lot to him. And he deserves it. They've got an awesome organization and work very hard at it. So it's great to be a part of that.
Back downstairs. Back in the back. Ryan McGee, do you have a question? Let's get him a mic real quick, please. Then we'll come up here to David Newton. Go ahead, Ryan.
This is for Jeff. Jeff, finally it seemed like there was that moment where it was like, oh, man, we're going to have a bad day, and then you managed to battle back. How important is that, just looking at the season as a whole, to have that kind of turnaround today?
Yeah, when it happened, I was pretty disappointed because I made the mistake, and we know how you got to be flawless at a track like this, and it just seemed like it was tough to pass, when you get that far back in traffic. So at first I was disappointed in myself, and then I thought, well, we've got a good car, we can make it up through there. And they dropped the green, and I went backwards, and I wasn't passing anybody, and I thought, I've really put ourselves in a hole here. Luckily, we had a long run, and like I said, we made some good adjustments, and we just started picking them off one by one, and the car was unbelievable in that long run. So we can't afford to do those things. I can't be making those mistakes, and we can't have those mistakes made, and that's just how crucial it is in the sport today, as competitive as everybody is, and how close the cars are. So, you know, we kind of got fortunate today.
Go right here with David, then we'll go to Jim, and then we'll end over here to the right. Go ahead.
Yeah, David Newton, ESPN.com for Jeff and Clint. You both were going back and forth thinking you'd be racing each other for the win today. Why was it Jimmy? What did he have that you guys couldn't get up there and make a difference?
A faster car. And he's really, you know, turns out he's pretty good here. Number one pit stall, fast car, good driver. Yep. Did he lead every lap? Not everyone. Pretty good. No, I mean, just, you know, we all live life off of practice speeds and you know, the trends. You watch a graph, we all see it. You know, when we get back to the bus after, you know, practice, we all look at graphs. We all have a good idea what we got for competition, how you stack up against them. And, you know, certainly I thought that for once, you know, I was a little bit better than maybe even the 24, especially early in a run, and that both of us were better than the 48 somehow. And, you know, the tide turned. I mean, it just that clean air all day long, being able to work on our car in that clean air. You know, I qualified bad, got ourselves back there, got it wrecked, got it tore up on both ends. And, I mean, it's just you get up there, you're door-to-door with the 48 that's been enjoying clean sailing all day long. You look at him, and it's ready to go back to the next short track. Mine's tore all to hell and ready to go put a new body on it. I mean, it's just you know what you're up against. It was, you know, you want to say bad luck and everything else, but, I mean, you make a lot of your own luck. We did a lot of things good this week, but we missed it in qualifying and, you know, ultimately kind of paid the price.
Let's go to Jim, gentleman here, and actually Bob Pockers will finish with him. Go ahead.
Charles Rourke, Star News. Got here a little bit late, so this question might have been asked. But you know, at the first of the week or Friday, you said that you didn't quite know about Martinsville. Do you like it now? And you know, what's your feeling about it?
I guess you're talking to me. Okay.
Nothing to it.
Turn left, brake, left. You know. Yeah, you know, I you know, as I said earlier, we did kind of answer this, but or I did. It's, you know, I had a pretty good car from the start, so it was comfortable. I wasn't really fighting anything huge, a little loose in. But you know, I didn't know what to expect. But you know, I said that I feel like finding the limit on a short track where you're going a little slower is there's a little less penalty there, a little bit less risk, and finding the limit on a really big track where you're doing 200 miles an hour and, you know, thing gets sideways and, you know, it's, you know, you don't always catch those. So I guess that's probably the comfort level for me. I felt like it was kind of traditional passing here, you know, setting it up and, you know, getting your nose in there and, you know, a little bit more road course style. So, you know, that might have some effect because I've done so much of that. But you know, good car, steady day. I got a lot of advice on keeping my head cool and just letting things go. And nobody has straight fenders after the race, although Jimmy might. Does Jimmy have all of his fenders straight? Okay. So,
every one of them.
So,
is there any truth to the rumor that you know?
Oh boy.
You're probably driving home because of the rookie battle. I mean, is there any truth to the rumor that maybe this could cause a little turmoil there?
Actually, I decided I'd fly back to Chicago, and he's going to drive back to Chicago.
See you guys. Thank you.
No, that was the plan all along.
Yeah, that's his.
But if he's not back at the bus when I get back there, I think that means he'll be mad. You know, you have good days and you have bad days, and we've definitely had our fair share of bad days the last few weeks. So it was nice to have a decent one.
Jim, hope you didn't have a question for Clint.
No, I didn't. It's for Jeff, actually. On pit road, you mentioned something about this being like old school Martinsville. Was that in reference to the tires? And it seemed that many of the people who raced yesterday and today seemed to like the fall off of the tires. Do you think that's headed in the right direction?
Yeah, I do. I didn't like it at lap 60 on the first run because it seemed like some others had it figured out a little bit better than we did. But as the race went on and the wear got a little bit better, then it seemed like we were, in the adjustments we made, we were very competitive. So I do like the fall off. You know, I like how you've got to manage how hard you push it at the beginning versus, you know, and the grip level, how it goes away, and you got to really use your foot to keep from spinning the tire. So that is kind of old school Martinsville that I grew up with, and I do like that. I think it brings more of the driver into play, even though it seemed like air pressure, you know, kind of helped that. I think we all started maybe a little bit too high on rear pressure. But yeah, that was fun. You know, I like to see that more. You know, durability is a big deal, especially on the bigger, higher speed tracks. And so, you know, they're limited on what they can do, especially on the repaves. But on these older tracks, you know, it's kind of encouraging to know that they can build a tire that can withstand long runs, but does fall off and wears a little bit. Like to see more of that.
Final question, Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Danica, I wasn't sure. Did you talk about what happened when you had contact with Junior? Did Vickers get inside of you? And did you feel like you were giving Vickers enough room there and also at the end?
Well, we were lined up on the inside in 1 and 2. Vickers hit me into Dale, and Dale got sideways, and then went down the back straight, and Dale was trying to put me down on the wall on the inside. And we got into 3, and he went around sideways and spun. So, you know, I wasn't trying to lose any friends out there, that's for sure. It was tight, like it is, bumper to bumper, and, you know, I just got hit from behind. So, yeah, 55 found my bumper again at the end. So, you know, it's Martinsville, right? 3 wide, coming to the start-finish line. It's all exciting. No, I wanted to make sure Dale wasn't mad. I wasn't trying to hit him or anything. You know, we were just lined up on the inside of 1 and 2, and we were all running tight, and I got bumped, and I got bumped into him, and was able to get alongside of him. Why wouldn't I take it? Nope. So
Danica and Jeff.
He came on the radio and said he wasn't mad. I didn't do anything wrong.
Thank you very much. Good luck next week at Texas.